Good evening, everyone. My name is Dana Richardson. I'm married with 2 children. My daughter Kylie, who is 16, and my son Colby, who is 21. It is so inspiring as I stand up here seeing all the people of different ages that have come out tonight to raise awareness for mental health and suicide. My goal for speaking tonight is for you to have new information that you can use to either help yourself, to share with friends, or that you can use to help someone else in need. I personally have been affected by mental health and suicide. My son suffered mental health issues. My son Colby was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness when he was in 7th grade. He went from playing sports, hanging out with friends, to him being in the PICU at CHKD on life support for at least 2 weeks out of each month. Before his diagnosis, his life was perfect. However, now his life was turned upside down. This illness was so serious he was granted a Make-A-Wish. He lived in constant pain throughout his middle school and high school days, even when he was not at the hospital. He started to see a counselor, and they put him on medicine for his depression and ADHD, but unfortunately these medicines interacted with his other medicines, so he stopped taking them. He would talk to me about his problems. As he got older, he tried to deal with his depression himself and started to do alcohol and take drugs to ease his pain and tried to hide it. He realized later in life that drugs and alcohol were only making things worse. When you ask people about my son Colby, they will always say he was the life of the party, always making people laugh, telling jokes, being happy, spitting out rhymes. However, he did this by wearing an invisible mask to hide his own pain. He wanted to make everybody else happy so they couldn't tell how much pain he was in. On July 1st, 2017, Colby came by the house. Everything seemed fine, like normal. We chit-chatted for a while. He asked to borrow some of his stepdad's tools, and he said he would be back in time for a birthday party we were having at the house. He gave me a big bear hug, kissed me on the forehead like always. I texted him a few hours later because he hadn't returned, but he never responded, so I figured, well, he's out hanging out with friends. July 2nd, 2017 would be the day I would now relive every morning and every night before I go to bed. The worst pain I would feel in my life. Due to social media, I received a call from someone saying that my son shot himself. I told them to calm down, that I knew a lot of Virginia Beach cops, and I would call them because I had not heard anything of the sort. Needless to say, about 2 hours later, 2 cops showed up at my door. I'm crying, screaming uncontrollably, telling them to go away. This couldn't be true. I had just collapsed. Colby is my baby boy. I had just seen him yesterday and he was fine. Tim, my husband, had to let them in because they had to notify me. They had advised me that my son, Colby Clements, committed suicide by shooting himself. I got very angry at this point at the police officers. Nobody commits suicide. My son didn't commit a crime, break a law, so why did they label it like this? This is part of the stigmatism. What should have been said is that he had died by suicide, just like how anyone else dies, by cancer, an accident, a heart attack. The word commit is what gives suicide a negative vibe. This is one point I would like to fix in notifications and in training. Now that I had been notified, we had to tell his 15-year-old sister. She was at a friend's house. We had to notify the mom to get her phone so she did not find out on social media. When she arrived at the house, she knew something was wrong because all of my family was there. She did not take the news well. They were best friends. Their bond was truly amazing. Thank goodness that we did take her phone away, because before she even walked in the door, she was getting text messages about her brother. Another point that needs to be fixed in training due to the sensitivity of this matter. Suicide does not discriminate against race, sex, financial status, age, or sexual status. It affects all walks of life. This is one of the most painful ways to be left behind by a loved one. It is a hard subject to talk about, but the proof is in the statistics with the suicide rate in the United States. It is at an almost 30-year high. It is a huge problem. Right now, it is the second leading cause of death for ages 15 through 24-year-olds. Right now in North Carolina, our own state, it is the second leading cause of death for 15 through 24-year-olds. It is the third leading cause of death for ages 10 to 14-year-olds. Suicide is preventable, it's treatable, yet is swept under the rug. I will not allow my son or anybody else's son or daughter or aunts or uncles to be swept under the rug. Please, I beg you as a mother, if you ever have a feeling of suicide or you know someone suffering, speak up, reach out. I will personally give you my cell phone number and I will talk to you. It does get better. Some people with mental health issues such as depression turn to alcohol and drugs to numb the pain. This doesn't help. It will only take you to a darker road and alter your mind and decisions. On your darkest day when you feel like it can't get worse, it means it can only get better. Don't be a victim, be a survivor. Stay connected to your life. And as we talk to people, we need to make sure we talk to them about prevention and hope. There is hope. As a society, we go through life building us up by tearing others down. Why do we do this? Did it make that boy in school feel good to tell my daughter just a few weeks after Colby passed, it was just your brother, get over it? Or hearing, oh well, he did it to himself. Or when a lot of her friends left her out of things as she's sitting at home feeling all alone, when all she really wanted to do was be surrounded by her friends and feel loved. This is why we need to get into schools and train about awareness, signs, and what to do or how to help someone with mental illness, suicide, and people that are affected by suicide. The grieving process is so complex when suicide is involved, and it affects everyone differently. There are added emotions such as feeling numb and confused, feelings of intense anger, rage, guilt, shame, rejection, anxiety. This is all from the trauma that suicide causes, and these are normal. I have never been angry at my son. Instead, I felt helpless for the pain he must have been feeling to make such an extreme decision. These feelings only have led me back to the feelings of guilt, because as a mom, I didn't recognize them as I saw him the day before. And I feel as I have failed him as a mom. There is a stigmatism on mental health and suicide. That is why as a society we don't hear about these stories on the news. Please do not brand mental health or suicide. Personally, I have heard people say suicide is selfish, and today I ask you, if you think this way, to change your way of thinking. Think of it as my son's depression was like a cancer in his heart. He did not want to end his life, but he was in so much pain, he wanted to end his pain. I know he must have been in a really dark place to do what he did, because if he felt there was a little bit of light, he wouldn't have wanted to cause so much pain to the ones he loved so much. However, with the traumatic way I've lost my son, I have mental challenges that I deal with daily, added to my depression and ADD that I have previously had to his suicide. My depression is worse. I have anxiety, panic attacks, flashbacks, nightmares, PTSD, insomnia. That's just to name a few. I go to counseling, to a suicide survivor group, a grief share group, through my church, and I lean heavily on my faith. I take mental health medicine every day, just the same as that people who have diabetes, asthma, high or low blood pressure, cholesterol, they take their medicines daily to keep themselves healthy, and society doesn't have a problem with that. So why do they have a problem with mental health medicine? It's a double standard and it needs to be changed. I would like to stress with you that I will always grieve my son, and there is no amount of time that will make this better until the day I reunite with him again. It is not normal for a parent to have to plan a funeral service for their child. He was only 21. I thought I had a million more memories with him. It hasn't even been a year, and he has already missed so much. I will never get to hug him. He will never kiss me on the forehead again. I won't get to watch him play basketball in my driveway, get married, have children, as he was always great with kids. He's going to be a godfather in September, yet he will never be able to hold his godchild. However, now he will be his guardian angel. Kylie, his sister, doesn't have her bubby here to race up the stairs. Make sure she's dating that right boy. He will miss her graduation, miss her becoming a doctor because of him, her getting married, and we have already had to change so many family traditions due to that he's not here with us now. It is all the little things that add up, and there are still days that I wait for him to walk through the door, as I still feel as if I'm in a fog. I have found this quote, and it is so true. Grief. I've learned it's really just love. It is all the love I feel I want to give, but cannot. All that unspent love gathers up in the corner of my eyes, the lump in my throat, and the hollow part of my chest. Grief is just love with no place to go. Jamie Anderson. In closing, I hope you choose to make a lifetime commitment with your voices, personal stories, and the stories of people you love that have been affected by mental illness and suicide to make a difference. As a mother of my son, I choose to honor Colby's memory and legacy by speaking out and continuing the conversations about awareness of mental health and suicide awareness, and work with others along my continuous lifelong journey of grief. And I'm making a lifetime commitment to make a difference. I love you, Colby Ross. Happy early birthday. You gave me the strength to get through this. This was for you, bud. Thank you, everyone.